Hello and welcome. Introducing Gemma Aguilar, lecturer, teacher, writer, pranic healer, and transformational author, reading her chapter entitled, My Mom I Wish to Call My Own, from Pebbles in the Pond, Transforming the World One Person at a Time.
Hi, I'm Gemma Aguilar, and I'm honored to share this moment with you as I read my chapter from the book, Pebbles in the Pond, Transforming the World One Person at a Time. This book is a collection of inspiring and uplifting stories written by over 40 global authors, which will be launched all over the world on May 20th. And I'm proud to be part of this project and global movement. So my story is about my life as a kid growing up, and I wrote it because I want to show you how love and acceptance can heal all pain. How our thoughts can create a life that is fulfilling and greater than yourself. When you accept and appreciate what's present, what is, and you do your best and just let go and allow that greater power that's already within you, which will lead to unlimited possibilities that you believe you deserve. So let me read my story, which I dedicate to my mom and to all mothers. My mom I wish to call my own. I grew up without a father who I was told had died just before I was born, but with my mother whom I couldn't call mom. You see, I grew up calling my mom Tita, which meant aunt in my native tongue. She hardly brought me anywhere, unlike my older sister, and when she did, she introduced me as her niece. So she made me call her Tita in front of others. My mom was the breadwinner of her family of 12, many of whom stayed with us before going their own way. Everyone in the family knew Tita was my biological mother, yet I got pranks that she adopted me from a sibling, which explained why I was her niece. I remember when an uncle told me that Mom tried to abort me after losing my father, at a time when this procedure was not medically accessible, but in vain. If that were true, then my life started with this death-defying experience, a precursor to other near-death incidents that I've been through. Whether it's real or not, I've always thought I was special. I was strong enough to save myself. Deep down, I wondered if I had done it so I could save her too. My older sister resembled Mom, and because I looked like my dad, I thought the pain of losing him was the reason why Mom treated me differently. Mom bought everything new for my sister, including the best cuts of meat, while I got the poor man's staple of fish and vegetables. Mom brought my sister to social events and gatherings while I had to stay at home. I didn't mind as I spent time with books and hobbies. I remember always being on the sideline, observing, trying to understand why I was different from everyone else. At school events and graduation ceremonies, either no one came for me, or there was suddenly an uncle or aunt that managed to pop up at the last minute. Yet, Mom managed to attend my sister's graduation, or whatever event she participated in. I remember times when I was alone and hungry, and I had to fend for myself, like cooking an egg with chopped tomatoes. I learned to clean the house, do chores, and water the garden for hours since it was huge. I had hoped to show Mom that I could do all these things, so she wouldn't have to work so hard in order to hire servants. When friends and classmates talked about what they did with their dad or daddy, mom or mommy, I kept quiet, as these were words I hardly uttered. I wasn't bitter about it or jealous of my friends. I was always a joyful girl who fooled everyone into thinking I had the happiest home. One night when I was 7, Mom came home after being away many days working as a model. My sister was sound asleep. It was a stormy night, but I couldn't sleep as I waited for Mom. She finally arrived, but didn't stay. I was watching through my bedroom window, trying to get her to notice me so I could wave goodbye. But she promptly got in a car that zoomed away in a flash. I sobbed so hard it was difficult to see through the glass panes. It didn't help that rain was pouring down hard at the time. I wanted to be with her, but she had to leave for work. That was the longest time I ever cried, an episode I vowed never to let happen again. I promised myself that I would work hard so Mom would never have to work again. I resolved to let the future make up for what had been missing in my youth. What happened that night froze in my mind and motivated me to strive for a better life for us. It seemed as though Mom's work deprived me of ever spending time with her, so I treasured every second she was home, putting on her makeup while I sat beside her, waiting to assist her, like rinsing out a sponge, filling containers with water, changing water, opening lids, helping her glue on her false eyelashes, spraying her hair, zipping up her dress, and so on. I watched in fascination how she could transform her looks. She was beautiful without makeup, and with it she was sensational. The few times she traveled with us were unforgettable, though short-lived, as she would leave soon after we had arrived at our vacation home. Yet I didn't focus on what might have been or how I wanted it to be. I accepted my different life situation as there was nothing I could have done, nor could anyone, to change Mom or her circumstances. It wasn't like something I had and lost that I should feel sorry about. Instead, I resolved not to repeat the cycle if I had children and to change it. I knew that despite my background and situation, it was clearly my life purpose to help her transform, to be more in touch with her reality as a mother, and to give my own kids the values, virtues, and faith they need to nurture while they are still young. In my last year of high school, I wanted to graduate with honors so that I would get accepted into the best college, and I did. I succeeded and was one of only 2 from our school to be privileged to attend the most competitive and prestigious private university usually reserved for males, which had recently started accepting more female entrants. In my freshman year, I took an exam to join the university paper, and surprised myself when I got judged highly by a jury that included prominent Philippine writers, directors, and I was appointed features editor. A year later, I got the news editor position, which I combined with my first bouts of freelance volunteer work at wire agencies and public tabloids. I graduated summa cum laude and finished 2 degrees in 4 years. My detached relationship with Mom made me strong, independent, and fearless. Growing up distant with her made me understand who I was, and to rely on no one but myself. Mom made me see that there was nothing to lose and everything to gain. So each time I aspired something, I persevered and succeeded. She made me as confident and as sure as I am, as I have been, and as I ever will be. As contradictory as it might seem, I attributed my strength to her stout sense of detachment. My mother made it easy for me to leave at a young age and go places without ever feeling guilty that I would cause her worries or pain. I learned how to survive by everything that I've been through in life. By far, the most important thing she bequeathed me was freedom to become myself and live a life of my own. So I discovered myself and explored my potential beyond imagination. I had a short but purposeful, fulfilling writing and teaching career in the Philippines, and got accepted at an Ivy League school in Montreal, Canada, where I lived for many years, accomplishing much at work, study, and volunteer undertakings. In the process, I've grown to love my mom more for what she made me become. To this day, we still have that detached bond that's oddly very strong. Many times in my life I've seen relationships between mothers and children that are pitiful, contemptible, pathetic, or shameful. I often wondered why the world was complicated. Why did people take many things for granted? Why can't every person accept each one's uniqueness and let go of the ego that judge what's good or bad? When people focus on what's wrong and missing, it only makes them a victim. While if they accept themselves and things as they are, it sends out a positive charge that draws them closer to their true nature, how they were meant to be. There's an inner power that people possess and can tap into. Some call it luck, divine intervention, or a miracle. The last time Mom introduced me as her niece was 3 decades ago. Yet I still say Tit, short for Tita, when I call her. But it's just a title. I do tell her each time we talk on the phone that I love her, and she tells me the same. As a kid, I always felt blessed to be alive at all. Now I'm forever grateful to her for my life, which has been colorful and wonderful. Each time I look back at my life, I realize that the most precious possessions I have were memories of Mom. Though my relationship with her was not a continuous smooth flow, they make up experiences that are unforgettable. Those moments possessed clarity, energy, and vitality that formed a field with a ripple effect around them, creating bigger waves of thoughts, dreams, and implications. I cherish them and count on them for the lessons learned and the choices made. Thanks for listening. Now I'd like to invite you to check out the other transformational stories of the over 40 other global authors in the book Pebbles in the Pond, Transforming the World One Person at a Time. And you can visit our website, that's www.pebblesinthepondbook.com. I wish you divine blessings and namaste.
Gemma Aguilar, lecturer, teacher, writer, pranic healer, and transformational author, reading her chapter entitled My Mom I Wish to Call My Own, from Pebbles in the Pond, Transforming the World, One Person at a Time.
Human being's heart, and everyone who finds that out makes how we change your life.